is your emergency broadcast system.
Welcome to another episode of Hashtag Biz with Beard and Bald. Today's episode is sponsored by Top Flight Athletics in Cypress, Texas. Give your student athlete the most advanced instructional training methods and aids in overall athletic performance at topflightcoach.com. Now, buckle up, it's showtime.
May God be with you all.
There's no other place we'd rather be than here. It is the Mobster and Hipster bringing you another episode of your favorite business podcast, but not Facebook's Hashtag Biz with Beard and Ball. That is right. We are the business podcast that Facebook says is unsafe and fosters a negative global community.
Hold on tight. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen.
To make sure you keep hearing the show, subscribe to the podcast at anchor.fm Biz with Beard and Bald or one of these other platforms: Google Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Castbox, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Breaker, Podbean, TuneIn, and Apple Podcasts.
Jesus, these guys are freaking everywhere.
I am your most masculine guest from Atlanta, Georgia, the Beard, Mr. Curfew Smith, and joining me from the great state of Texas and the city of Houston is my partner and co-host, the man who needs a boost to wash his hands, the bald Mr. Scott Schaefer.
The tiny one can't take a hint.
And our guest today hails from Hotlanta, or Atlanta, Georgia for everyone else. She's an online marketing strategist and Facebook ad expert. She specializes in helping women coaches, health and wellness entrepreneurs, and service providers who are ready to generate more leads for their business. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Scott, welcome Meliss Jakubovic from Meliss Marketing to Hashtag Biz with Beard and Bald. Welcome, Meliss.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're glad to have you.
Meliss, yes. I don't know whose voice that was, or Beard, the actual Beard itself now has taken on an alter ego personality with a voice. But thanks for joining us. And Beard, hey, man, it's always a treat to take time out of my day for the kind of money that only a homeless person underneath the bridge in Houston can want to make. But before we get into Meliss and her expertise, I wanted to share a fun fact with everybody.
Okay.
All right, and especially you, Beard. Uh-oh. Did you know that studies show, the most recent studies that I researched show, on average, that a man's beard will grow 5.5 inches per year? Did you know that?
No, but I think I could do that in about 2 months. Well,
for all of our listeners, it's safe to say that you wouldn't mind if something else would grow 5.5 inches in a lifetime.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
Well, since my little friend is sharing fun facts, do you want to know the difference between a man with a beard and a man without one? Do you know what that is, Meliss?
What is that?
One man gets more respect, the other man doesn't have a beard.
You know, hey, honestly though, bro, if it's respect you want, you die. I can't even talk because that was so stupid. You're such a Duck Dynasty reject, bro. Shave the beard, give up your dream of joining your local Mumford & Son cover band, all right? Very funny.
You guys are funny.
Yeah, very funny poking fun of my appearance, especially from a guy who looks like Zach Morris and Elmer Fudd had a baby. I mean, come on.
Speaking of physical beardo, last week you said, I swear I heard this, last week you said you plan to get in better shape.
That's right. I'm trying.
Are you trying? Because I'm very confused. It's hard to believe that you even gotten out of shape considering how much the townspeople chase you around with their torches.
Stop making fun of me.
Oh, man. Dude, come on. Have you looked in the mirror lately? I'm sure you have with the help of a step stool, but I mean, where do you get off running a physical fitness facility? I mean, that's the equivalent of Felicity Huffman being in charge of college admissions.
Hold your calls, America. We have a winner.
Man. Bro, I tell you what, man, I'm going to send a selfie out to all of our listeners because you don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, man, that was tough. Well, in all seriousness, let's get down to business. And as we may mention, we're in a big battle with Facebook. And since Meliss is the Facebook ad expert, we've been shut down, Meliss. They don't like what we have to say. So how do we get reactivated again? They don't like the show.
Boo, frickety hoo.
That is so tough. I mean, it happens. Any account is open game for that to happen. It's happened to me before as well, and for some of the clients that have come to me. Really, you can battle with Facebook. You can go back and forth. You can wait months and months. You can have lots of stress, or you can just open up a new ad account. Or you can do both of those things simultaneously. They're really strict with their policies. So if you just make one little mistake, then that could be the end of your ad account. It's another good reason to hire a Facebook ad expert. If someone's like inside of Facebook, not really sure what they're doing.
I think that's what's happened. I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing, Meliss, what occurred, and we'll get into you, and I really appreciate you doing this, but since you're an ad expert, here's my issue with it. And again, it's someone in Facebook has decided just to shut our ad account down where we can't promote the show, and they won't tell us why. And my thing is, we've done something wrong. Let us know. We've got the same response back. This is say review our policies and guidelines, and I went through all 30 of them, found maybe one where we may have violated, and it was basically a mistake, not intentional. And we've asked if that was it, and they will not answer the question. And it's like, why won't they answer it?
Bro, you hairy Oopa Loopa. She just gave you the answer, man. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
I do not let things go.
Listen,
I have to have answers.
No, but it's a lot like how that freaking alter whatever is on your face got to where it is today, bro. It's like that first time that you accidentally used Vagisil instead of shaving cream. Like, we all know where this thing came from. She just gave you the answer. You've got to listen. But go ahead, Meliss.
Well, what I was going to say is that there are different people at different hours of the day who work on Facebook from all over the world. Just like when, you have trouble with your Comcast or a bank fee, it really depends who you get on the phone. So if it's not working for you, I'd say sign off and try again at a very obscure time of day and see if you can get someone who's a little bit more helpful to help you.
So I don't know if you've seen our recent post on social media. So we kind of said, hey, we're going to take this as publicity. It's probably not a good idea we did that either, but oh well, it is what it is. We'll open up a new ad and people will get to see us again.
Yeah, I mean, if you're both admins on the account, one of you may get blocked access and the other one may have access, so you can play around with that. Yeah. It's always good to have a backup ad account in case.
Well, this is my opportunity. Ready, set, 3, 2, 1. And for all you listeners who have been blocked from the ad of Biz with Beard and Bald, feel free to toggle over to Bald, the page that's always glowing and shiny.
That's right. Bald does have his own page. I forgot about that. Cool. Well, Meliss, I want to spend today's show discussing marketing automation, largely in part because when I went to one of your seminars you held, and Bald is always looking for any way out of work, so automation is right up his alley. However, for us and many people out there, explain to us what is marketing automation and what does marketing automation actually do?
Well, it's a good question. Let's talk first about just the word marketing. Marketing is where you're going to put your products or services out in front of people. And when we're talking about online marketing, that could be on social platforms, that could be on your blog, on your website, on your landing pages. But when we talk about automation, that's having that systematic back-end process running for you so that you aren't spending hours and hours and hours of every day doing every little thing in your business. Because when you're doing that, you're not able to actually focus on your clients. So marketing automation are all of the systems, all of the processes that you can set up in advance. Takes a lot of time to do that, but once you have that system set up in advance, that becomes the foundation of your business, so things can start running automatically. Things like your content creation system, sales funnels, your lead magnets, and even your email management systems.
Okay. So, I mean, it just takes up a lot of, it takes a lot of time to set up in advance, right?
Well, it takes a lot of time to set up, but it takes even more time not to set it up.
Right. Well, I agree.
It's only worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I first got back into sales, especially when I was working at a bank, yeah, you're right. I mean, we had to do all these emails by hand, and it was just absolutely, devastating. And I would probably, guess if I go into a bank right now, I would probably, I would know that they still do it that way. A lot of the bankers are still.
Fact check.
Fact check.
Fact check. Here we go. Fact check. 3, 2, 1. Nobody actually works at a bank.
Scott comes from a long line of bankers in his family, so he's going to be in trouble on that one.
That was at my entire family. That's right. Well, Meliss, timing is everything. So, kind of like my bearded friend, unfortunately, who hasn't figured out it's time to shave off that chia pet on his face. But seriously, though, when should someone start or at least contemplate implementing marketing automation platform?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I mean, if you're really building a business and you're really devoted to it, you want it to grow and scale. And the only way it can do that, especially if you're bringing online marketing into that, is through automation, because you don't have enough hours in the day to meet people one-on-one, and automation makes it possible for you to serve a lot of people at one time the same way.
Well, speaking of timing, how much time does it take or do you need to spend building a campaign? And walk through the steps with us.
Okay, well, campaign, I don't know what you mean if you're talking about like a Facebook ad campaign or just a full-on marketing campaign. But to go from like zero to hero,
Correct.
I'd say it takes about, for a very, very basic thing, about 3 months, really working on it hard. Or, of course, if you don't have that time, just hiring a team who can do it for you.
Right.
So it is time consuming to build the business, and really the parts of that business that are time consuming are all these foundations and systems within the business that help you operate more efficiently.
So you say 3 months if you're going to do it yourself to get it all set up, and that's just for one campaign, correct?
That's from like inception to execution on one campaign. But when you want to make another campaign, you'll already have some of these places in available to you, like they're already set up. So it would just be converting little things to switch it up. So really just that first time takes a lot of extra work.
But if we were to hire someone like you, how fast can we get that up and going? Or how fast can
it really like how fast? Well, it really depends. It depends what you come to me with. If you're like, I'm starting a new business today, make it happen, then you wouldn't really be our ideal target market, and it requires a lot of content and tech and signing up for softwares. But if you already have a viable business and you're just wanting to become more marketing savvy and reach a lot of people, depending on what you bring to the table, if you already have an email list and a following, you already have some content, then it's going to take a much shorter amount of time. And it really depends on the style of your business too.
Right.
Well, Meliss, I'm a visual person, which is probably why I throw up a little bit in my mouth every time my Skype rings during, ahead of these recordings. But
he has to be visual because he's so short. He's always looking up.
Well, whether I'm looking up, down, left, or right, when I see that profile picture come up, I just a little bit in my mouth. But nonetheless,
you love
can you explain, Meliss, to us what that journey of marketing automation really kind of looks like? Like, basically, what does it mean? And then can you kind of be a Picasso for our listeners? Like, give us a visual. What does the journey through it look like?
Sure. So if we're talking about sales funnels, this would be a series of landing pages. Everyone needs a sales funnel in their business, especially online. So that's a series of landing pages that are used to build a relationship on automation with your customers and your prospects. So what that looks like is nobody getting left behind, nobody falling through the cracks. From a customer standpoint, you feel supported, you go on a learning journey, you're given content and materials that you need based on where you are in that space or on your journey and based on the actions that you take. So that could be as simple as having a PDF for someone to download. They enter in their email and their name, and then they're taken to a thank you page where you can offer them another service at a cheaper rate. Then they start getting a bunch of emails following up, delivering what they downloaded, and maybe telling a little bit of a story about you and your business, and really nurturing them into the next step in your journey, the next level in your funnel. So all of that happens on automation. If you don't have this set up, it would look like emailing people one by one or private messaging them, here's a link to my PDF, do you want it? And then having to follow up with each and every single person in an email every so often, every few days. And really that would be the basis of your day-to-day work. Whereas if you have this set up, you don't even have to be sitting at your computer. Someone can get to the link, they can enter in the information, they can get the PDF on their own, and they can get all the emails from you that explain your story all done for you. So that setup process is the hard part because you have to really map out the entire journey for everyone and then implement it. But without it, you really have people falling through the cracks, people you forget to follow up with, people who didn't get their PDFs, and people who don't know that there's more available to them when they're ready.
Right.
So, hey, Beardo, you notice I don't know, your hearing's kind of going, unfortunately, quicker than the beard, but she did say nurture, not nature, Forest Floor.
Well, if I were to visualize this, I mean, it kind of looks like a staircase, right? I mean, you get to go up to the next step. If you reply a certain way, if you don't, you stay there. And if you reply a different way, you keep going up the staircase until you actually become a client. Am I right in thinking that or not?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of times people think of a sales funnel as like a funnel where it's really big at the top and really small at the bottom, and you're just funneling people through. But really, it is a staircase. It's a learning journey. So people get on that first step and they're ready for something small. And once they've digested it, they've implemented it, and they're ready to move on and get more information from you, they take it the next step up and you have something to offer them. So depending on where people are in that learning journey, depending on where they're standing on that staircase, you should essentially have things to offer them, products or services based on where they are.
Well, and I think you bring up, we'll talk about failures here in a second, but I think you bring up a major failure right there is that you just made mention it, right? The sales funnel, and people kind of see this as a funnel, and I don't. I see it as a staircase, and once you get to a certain point, then the sales funnel where the conversation happens, and that's a whole different game, than the marketing part of it. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, well, marketing is how you're going to let people see your stuff, but really you have to build out this stuff first. So the sales funnel is all the products and services and the sales pages that go along with each part of it. Or even a sales funnel inside of your Facebook ads could be certain ads that are lined up with where this prospect or customer is on that staircase.
Okay. Well, before we get into those failures, what are some marketing automation best practices that people can start with now?
Number one, you need to define your target market, but you need to go even deeper than that. You need to define your market based on where they are in their journey. So you really need to understand that. So basically that first step, that's going to be your basic level, your beginner at the entry point. And then a more seasoned, knowledgeable, and significantly more successful person will be found later on down the road. So you really need to define your buyer personas. You need to capture the information on the first step. Sometimes people just say, here, go here, and you don't actually capture that lead. And that's very important for building your business and your list. You need to create different offers along the way that fit with where they are in their customer journey. And you need to give lots and lots of value at each stage of the process, like relevant, timely content. And you want to use varying pieces of content along the way, so it's not the same every single time, like a video one time or some images one time or a PDF or an ebook. Like, you want to switch it up. There are a lot of different learning styles, and also if all you offer is PDFs, then people are going to get bored, so you want to just keep it interesting.
Well, that's some great advice, and I really like that last one, the value along the way. And I think that's where a lot of people might miss out on that, or they don't do that. And I think, again, as we talk about failures, I think that's a major one.
Yeah, people are constantly saying, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, but you really need to just give everything away. And then they'll be like, wow, they're offering this for free. I can't imagine what their paid stuff will be like.
So let's get to the only thing that Beard knows goes hand in hand with the word epic, and that's failure. What are some marketing automation failures that you can share with our listeners?
Usually that comes from the tech, or not building the nurture series out properly. So just asking more than giving. What that translates to is really spammy messaging, or sounding like a robot or a chatbot. Or another failure is just not gathering enough data and not testing. So you're not really sure what you're doing. You're just throwing it out there and hoping for the best. And another failure that I see all the time when clients come to me at the agency is that they're not nourishing that list. They're not nurturing it. They're not keeping it active and lively. It's like, here's your PDF, and then it's a dead list. And it's really hard to re-energize a dead list. It's much easier to keep that momentum going. So, for example, if anyone downloads any of my freebie offers, they're going to start getting 2 emails a week from me. And my emails are filled with free content and links to things and lots of information. So you really want to make sure that you're keeping your list engaged.
Yeah. No, I'm on those emails. I get them, and thank you.
Oh, cool. You're welcome.
Well, I think you're right. The nurturing part is where people really fail, and it's like they get into it and they just don't nurture it. And I think it's important. The question I'm going to ask you is, if you're sending out a mailer, and and if you're running a campaign, when do you stop and start over? Right? I mean, is there ever a point in that? I mean, where you send out a first mailer and they don't view it, and they don't view it again, and they don't view it, but they finally do view it, it goes to a different spot, and then it's more nurturing. I mean, when do you start and stop? Or do you?
It really depends. It depends what your objective is. If it's, someone downloads a freebie and then you want to just nurture them and teach them about you, then you just send about 4 or 5 emails. If you want them, if it's something that you're doing a launch for and you want them to sign up for a webinar, then you're going to keep those emails going until after the webinar. You'll do a few leading up to the webinar, then you do a few after the webinar, like here's a link to the replay and this is what we're offering and doors are closing. So it really depends on what the objective is. But I believe that you should always be emailing your list, regardless of when they came onto the list, so that you're top of mind. And sometimes it takes 7 to 12 touches before anyone's interested in doing anything with you. So if you imagine that, you've only messaged someone 2 or 3 times, but they would have participated in your service or offer at touch number 7, then you've already paid for the lead to come into your door, but then you didn't actually spend the time nurturing it and you've lost it. So it's a waste for you.
It took Beard a hell of a lot more than 5 to 7 touches to get dates in college. I know that.
Hey, how you doing?
Then you're persistent.
That was a good one. I'll give you that one. But getting back to it, though, and I think where a lot of people, again, fail, right? Again, when we're going to talk about marketing, marketing's to grab someone's attention. And then once you get them, and I think where a lot of people, and especially customers, don't realize, they think they're going to hire Meliss Marketing and it's going to do all the sales for them. And that's not really the case, is it? I mean, it's going to gather attention, get you some pretty strong leads, but at the end of the day, they still have to close the deal.
True. We aren't closers here. We are going to help you with your business, though, in areas that you probably can't do on your own. For example, phase 1 of our marketing strategy is brand awareness and visibility. So we work really hard on getting you in front of the right customer for you, the people who are most likely to buy. And that's the trick, especially online, because it's not like putting up a billboard and thousands of people are driving by, but only like 2 people are your target market. So you're wasting money for that billboard on all the other people that are not your target market. In Facebook marketing, on social media, the way that it works is that you're actually putting your marketing efforts in front of the people who are most likely to buy it. So we're finding the hot leads for you, or the warm market buyers, and then you will convert them. But it's easier to convert them and close that sale when they're the exact people that you can help, as opposed to just some stranger off the street. It would be a harder close. So you would be responsible for closing the deal, but we actually help with sales scripts. We can help with video scripts. We help writing webinars too, if that's something you're struggling with. But we do the brand awareness and visibility. Then we also do lead generation and retargeting.
Great answer. Well, we've come to the point of the show where you have to take a break to listen to some generous sponsors who have not abandoned ship like Facebook. So when we come back, we will discuss more about marketing automation and get to know Meliss a little more personally. So while we are away, I will refill my glass. Meliss will ponder why she's here, and Scott will climb into his tree and make some cookies for us.
Yum.
Here's one of Meliss's favorite artists, Alanis Morissette, to take us into break.